Welcome to Podcapers, the official podcast of a place to hang your cape. And this week, you're not getting a musical number because we didn't go to this convention. Cue the music! Hello there, Capers, and as I said, welcome to Podcapers, the official podcast of a place to hang your cape. My name's Scott James Merridew, and this is the show where we talk about various geek and nerd-related topics, and are joined each week by a very special, different guest. Now, we are just coming off of the high that is the San Diego Comic Convention, and we've learned a lot of things. And there's a lot of stuff to unpackage and digest. That's a combination of digest and process. It's a new thing that I just made up, and it works perfectly for the scenario. So I need someone to help me progest, and that is David Molofsky.
I'm progesting right now.
Ew. David, keep that to yourself. But seriously, there's been a lot of reveals and trailers and news coming out of this convention. There always is, but this year especially feels like there's a lot.
Yeah, especially the reveal that the new acronym for the worlds of DC. So where it used to be the DC EU, it's now TUDIC.
What?
Have you noticed that? Yeah, it's TWODC. How would you pronounce that?
TWODC. Twonked.
The worlds of DC.
I'm writing that down. Hold on. The world of DC. Twonked. I mean, it sounds stupid either way.
Yeah, I mean, DCEU was a better name. They should have just embraced it.
Well, DCEU, I mean...
That was such a weird announcement. Like, okay, and now we're the worlds of DC. Okay.
I mean, that's a fine idea, I guess, because at least the thing with DCEU, it sounds like, crap, we can't call it the DC Cinematic Universe, so we got to call it the DC Extended Universe, because that's the same, right? And much like with most of DC stuff, it smacks of trying too hard. Really trying too hard. Which we're going to talk about right fucking now. Let's just get started. Let's talk about the thing that wowed everyone. This brand new, fresh, iconic take on a much beloved character. I am, of course, talking about Fuck Batman.
Fuck that trailer, man.
We touched upon this in our TV awards show. I feel now is the time to talk about it in slightly greater detail, just because, like, the amount of backlash this trailer got due to the inordinate amount of things that are so patently and obviously and objectively wrong with it.
It's just like, it reeks of trying too hard with too little money.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing. I admire ambition. I'd far rather something fail because it tried too hard than it not try at all. Having said that, though, like, you really should be working within the budget that you have and the technology and the expertise that you have to hand. It's not really fair to have a bunch of kids make like a Star Trek TV episode in their garage or something and then put that on TV like it's the real thing, you know?
I mean, we talked about this on the last episode, on the TV episode, where, you know, I think it looks like a fan film, and I was watching it again just before we started recording. And I have to say, it really reminds me. So I watched on my TV for the first time, and I actually saw some more detail than I could see on my phone. And it reminds me a lot of the old Birds of Prey TV show, which came out about, 15 years ago, say.
What if it's a Batman TV show, but not featuring Batman or indeed any, like, most of the characters that we actually like? You get Alfred, you get Harleen Quinzel, and that's it.
And, I mean, you get Oracle in that series.
Oh, yeah, Oracle. Okay, fair enough.
the reason it really reminded me of it was like they got a lot of the costumes right. They got a lot of the like look and feel. They got a lot of the looks right. Like look like Beast Boy.
Did they?
Looks. I'm building to a point here.
Okay.
Beast Boy looks really good, but it's also like that's like where the resemblance ends. Like
There's a difference between looking the same and feeling the
like,
same.
if someone had told me that this was a trailer for a show that never got made, that was supposed to be a companion show to Birds of Prey 15 years ago, I would have believed them.
Yeah.
That's how it felt. Like that's what I mean. It felt out of its time. Sort of the same way that like the Venom trailer from a few weeks ago also felt like that feels like a film that would have been made around that same time in like 2003. Like these are not like it's not just the effects, it's like the way the story is being told and like the way the trailers are cut. It's just really really like reeks of early aughts.
It shows that like it's sort of like, you know, like it's an old trailer, you know. It's like, hey, I can keep up with the cool kids now. No, you can't. Titans trailer. No, you can't. And look, here's the thing with trailers, and this is a good rule of thumb for everything we talk about today. Trailers can be misleading. They are not always indicative of the final product. They are meant to make you go see the final product, but that is not the same as actually watching the final product. So any criticism we make today are not necessarily criticisms of the final product, which we have not seen yet. We have not seen, we've not seen anything we're about to talk to today in its final completed form. We are just looking at these trailers and these announcements and these new things as much as we can with the information we have to hand. Maybe we make a prediction, maybe we won't. I predict that Titans will fucking suck. I think there's plenty of evidence to back that up. But here's the thing, I could be wrong. It's bound to happen one of these days.
I love to be proven wrong about Titans. Like, I want Titans to be good. That's the thing. It's like, with a lot of these, it's, you know, we rail on these so much, but it's important to remember that we don't want these to be bad.
I would love it if DC had never made a bad movie in their lives, if all the characters was great, because that means more things for me to love. They're not, and I hate them, but I don't want that to be the reality.
I mean, can you imagine a world where The Dark Knight Rises was the worst DC movie to come out in the last 10 years?
Oh, happier times. Simpler times.
Should we move on to the next world of DC?
Yeah, I think we should save the best for last. And let's talk about Aquaman. Now, here's the thing. I think Aquaman will do okay, pinches of salt, solely due to the natural talent and charisma of Jason, my sun and stars, Momoa.
I think it's going to do really good because there's no Star Wars coming out this December.
That's enough. That's another good point. Yeah, because oh god, here's the thing. Here's the trailer. This is not the worst trailer I have ever seen.
It's actually quite a good trailer, I think.
Yeah, and it's got lots of kind of interesting ideas, and it's got a lot of stuff that we know about Aquaman, at least like modern day Aquaman, not like old school Aquaman. Come with me, dolphin friends. We must stop the polluters. I've got a really nice blonde crew cut for some reason, despite the fact that I live in the fucking ocean.
Oh man, Scott, have you ever heard Aquaman's Lament, the song?
I think I have. It's been a while, yeah.
It's just reminding me of that. The opening is that. It's like, come on, friends, let's go save the ocean, or something like that. Anyway.
Yeah, but this is not your granddad's Aquaman. This is a young, hit, buff, tattooed, beardy, weirdy Aquaman. Because here's the thing, DC have tried for years, to make Aquaman interesting. They tried to make him the king. They tried to do away with the whole, oh, I don't talk to fish thing. They gave him a beard and a fucking hook hand thing and all sorts.
And of course, everyone remembers when James Cameron made the Aquaman movie in Entourage.
Well, I don't watch Entourage. What do you...
You're better off for it. Anyway.
Yeah, you damn right I'm better off for it. Jeez, what do you take me for? And then there was the Justin Hartley TV pilot.
Yeah, but the point I was about to make was the idea of an Aquaman movie was so laughable that they were able to just like get the rights immediately to make a joke movie in Entourage. Like, of course, there's never gonna be an Aquaman movie, so let's just like mock up a fake poster and pretend we're making an Aquaman movie.
We live in a world where Trump and Brexit are real things that are happening. Anything goes.
And there's a Shazam movie in the works. That's anything goes in Hollywood. Talk about the trailer for a second. So again, and you're hearing me say this a lot. I just literally watched pretty much everything we're about to talk about. And in watching it this time, I kind of was thinking of it because the internet's sort of been comparing Aquaman to Black Panther, and I think that those sorts of comparisons are sort of inevitable at the moment. There was a joke when Black Panther came out that, it's what if there was a version of Black Panther, but it was, a white kingdom that was like really elitist and whatever, and someone was like, well, that's Thor, which is true, but it's also awesome.
Hey! There's an Asian guy and a black guy in Asgard. So, it's not that bad.
You hold on to that hope, Scott. But the point that I'm getting at is I was thinking about this. So everyone's already said this, and I've heard the jokes, and I was thinking about this with Aquaman, and I'm watching this trailer, and I'm like, okay, so the basic plot of the film that I get from the trailer is that Aquaman is sort of this half-blood prince who doesn't live in his kingdom.
He's Snape.
Aquaman Arthur is like this half-blood prince. He's been exiled, and he's basically coming back to the kingdom that he has never been a part of to try to vie for the throne. And I was thinking, whose story does that fucking remind me of? Oh, I don't know, maybe Killmonger?
Oh no.
So basically what we have here is it's the villain story in Black Panther is the hero story in Aquaman.
And I'm all for alternative takes, but that seems like it's like someone coming up with a movie like, hey, I've got an idea, guys. What if there was this young, strapping, smart, political war hero? Maybe he was a failed artist who wanted to reunite his homeland and make everything great again. I think we'll call it Hitler, A Tale of Dreams.
Oh, no. We're getting to Magic Hitler later. But it's just like, I'm thinking about this, and I've also heard that like there's different tribes or different like nations, like the 7 nations of Atlantis or 7 tribes. It sounds just like how there's the different tribes in Black Panther and all this stuff. And I'm just thinking about all this, and it's like, I think that's what's going to hurt that film the most.
You say that. I mean, I'm much more concerned with the aesthetics of the trailer and what I'm seeing. And it seems like this is going to be a very CGI-heavy movie. And Black Panther had CGI, but like you saw them like out in the open and in things that looked real and you could touch. Here, they're all underwater. And granted, you can't really do that without a lot of CGI.
I mean, at least when Black Panther's out in a field, he's out in a field.
Yeah, but this is the thing. I think this is going to get very Attack of the Clones, because this is the problem. If you've got a movie nowadays that is that dependent on CGI, it has either got to be Avatar or Attack of the Clones.
Oh, sorry.
or fucking Justice League with all the orange sky.
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of what I was saying. Like with Zack Snyder, it's like you're never on a set anyway, and it's sort of like it feels like at a certain point, like your brain just clicks and it knows when you're not on a set, when you're on a set rather, and not on like there's no physical set.
Yes, I think a lot of the actors notice when they're in front of a blue screen or not.
No, but I mean, like, not just the actors, but, like, the audience. Like,
yeah, I know that's what you meant, David. I was joking.
It's too late, Scott. We're recording this way too late at night.
Like, 9 at night.
I am an old man.
I work a full day. You don't see me complaining. And it's, the more we see a CGI, the more we get used to it, and the illusion breaks.
But I think it's almost like an uncanny valley thing, right? It's like
Exactly an uncanny valley.
It's not just with people though. It's like even with a background or a backdrop, like you get that uncanny valley effect.
Yeah, the brain has a psychological way of knowing whether something is real and corporeal and actually something that you could actually touch, and whether something is CGI. Which is why when CGI is used minimally, it really, really works.
Absolutely.
When it has to be used to a much larger scale. This is why people still love the original trilogy of Star Wars, because the CGI was very minimal, even in the
There wasn't any CGI in the originals.
Okay, yeah, no CGI in the original,
But you mean like the '90s re-release?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Like when Phantom Menace came out, and you had those shots where it was just like everything that didn't need to be filled in was filled in by CGI.
Yeah, but even then, Phantom Menace was pretty conservative with it. It looked all real. It looked like, hey, so we've got this.
Yeah, but don't forget the underwater scenes of Phantom Menace. I know nobody watches.
Oh, you make a good point.
There's like the underwater
yeah.
Gungan City, and a lot of that's been compared to Aquaman.
Yeah, and I can see why. I can see why you would make that comparison. Oh god, they're all gonna be Gungans, and also you can tell like the scene with the crowd where they like stop, pause, and they all cheer. It's like, oh, they're trying to be funny, aren't they? Yeah, they are. Well, which works for Jason Momoa because he's a funny guy.
Yeah, I do like Jason Momoa. The other thing I really liked about this trailer was Black Manta, actually.
Oh yeah, Black Manta's in it. Yay!
But like the look of him is so comic booky, and it's something that we haven't seen DC embrace in that way before.
Except for now, because there's another DC thing that's out that, not since Suicide Squad, has actually made me think, maybe this might be good.
Should we say it together?
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
By the power of Grayskull. Oh, wait.
I was waiting to see if you were going to make a joke out of it, and I was right. You walked right into my trap, David Molofsky. Shazam! Because they can't use Captain Marvel for rights, which has always been a big thing. Like, here's the thing. I think ever since Jeff Johns' new version of Shazam, as we shall call him from now and forever, because it's still a much better name than fucking Captain Marvel when there's another Captain ever since then, he's sort of had a resurgence in popularity, and it was sort of remembered, like, because it's weird, because with the Johns version now, it's sort of like he's the perfect amalgam of the old school 1930s, 1940s archetypical superhero with a much more modern, much more relevant twist. And they sort of fuse them together, much like Billy Batson and Shazam, Mario Shazam, and it sort of works on this whole new level now, because before it was just like, oh, I'm a kid, no, I'm a man, and then it was just like, no, now I'm a kid, now I'm still a kid, but I'm in the body of a man, and now it's like, okay, now I'm a kid, now I'm in the body of a man, let's fully explore this.
I'm really excited about this film. I mean, I really do like Zachary Levi. You know, I was a big Chuck fan back in the day.
Oh my god, he's played 2 comic book characters in DC and Marvel now.
Yeah, he's he's also in Thor.
Yes.
Thor, the Dark Thor, the bad Thor.
And also Thor Ragnarok.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
Oh yeah, like for like 2 seconds, he just dies.
Yes, but still.
Yeah. No. You're right. You're absolutely right.
I like the Dark World.
Okay, but anyway, nobody else likes the Dark World. Really, you like the Dark World?
I'm not saying it doesn't have problems. I'm saying it was still enjoyable.
All right, I'll give that to you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
But yeah, he's Shazam, and okay, so let's just address the elephant in the room, the costume. It is both equal parts awesome looking and equal parts stupid and fake looking.
I was gonna say camp as fuck.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I've never seen a movie superhero costume that both works and doesn't work this much.
I don't know. I think like it reminds me of like the Schumacher costumes in the Schumacher Batman movies.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's got the lightning bolts.
It doesn't. Not that it necessarily looks like them, but it's like that like very. This is a comic book come to life in a very literal way. Like,
yeah,
it's literally the costume as it appears in the comics.
Yeah, it also looks so bulk out. This is the problem. See, I think Zachary Levy, or however you call him, Chuck. I just call him Chuck. I don't want to call him Chuck because he's played other characters and he's a very good actor. But let's just call him Chuck for the sake of simplicity. Chuck is a very good choice to play this character based on what I've seen. I'm not sure he kind of fits the description physically. Do you know how I think might have been slightly better, or at least as good to play the character? John Cena.
Really?
Yeah, I think, like, early John Cena, when he was first starting out, I think we would say, oh no, what, he's just like some wannabe actor as a wrestler. Like, no. But now he's done a few comedic movies and I think a few like action stuff, and he's shown that actually he can act rather well, and he can be funny and goofy, but also like do the action stuff. I think he'd be the perfect side for that. Chuck, meanwhile, yeah, we've seen him do some action on Chuck and other stuff, but like we mainly know him as someone who's kind of funny and witty and cool and geeky, and that's great. But that's like one side of it. Like you can tell the suit. I'm not sure how ripped he is, but I'm fairly certain his biceps aren't that big. John Cena's biceps are that big.
Yeah, I mean, but imagine if it had been John Cena versus The Rock's Black Adam. I mean, then people really would have made fun of that movie.
Yeah, but there's making fun of a movie, and then the movie just like saying, we don't care because we fucking work. It's awesome. Like, that would actually be cool because they are... I mean, I'm not saying they're the Laurence Oliviers of our time, but they're good actors.
Yeah, but it would have turned the movie into a joke if you'd had two wrestlers as the stars. I actually really wanted to see...
Why, though? Why? If they give good fucking performances, who gives a shit? I'm not saying...
I don't think that John Cena is that great of an actor, even The Rock levels. But anyway... I was going to say, I always wanted John Krasinski for the role. I thought he had the same sort of qualities as what Zachary Levi is bringing to the role.
Well, yeah, again, same qualities, but again, not the same physical build. What do you think of when you think of...
Have you seen the trailers for the new Tom Clancy with him in it?
Yeah, he looks fucking ripped, but he's not like... Think of the comic book version of Captain Marvel. What do you think? He's not lean, he's not lithe, he's not...
Okay, you're right. He's like barrel-chested.
He's barrel-chested, he's big, and I know that's a comic book, and that conforms to a certain ideal, and it's not exactly going to be 100% realistic, not even close. I get that. I do, but you know what? There are one or two people out there that do kind of look like that. John Cena.
The Rock.
And The Rock, yeah. So, you know, if it works, it works. You know?
Fair enough. I'll give it to you on the looks.
Like, I'm not saying, like, here's the thing, that we've got, like, 3 wrestlers out there. What's-his-face Bautista, John Cena, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And they're out there, and they're giving reasonably good performances. Like, good enough that I think they should be given a chance to do other stuff, like, you know. I'm not saying everything they've done is great, especially with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. We will never forget the Tooth Fairy. But if it works, you know?
Yeah, okay, I'll give it to you. It's fair enough.
And I'm not saying Zachary Levi is going to give a bad performance, because he's not. That's not what I'm saying. I think he gives a very good performance. I think he's very right for this role. And I can look past the suit. Honestly, I really can. And I will enjoy, because based on what I see in the trailer, it looks really, really cool. It looks like it's borrowing very heavily from Jeff John's version, but it also... is trying to do its own thing as well.
It also looks good in motion. When we saw the first pictures released, I was a bit questioning about it, but now that we've actually seen it move and everything, I think I'm much more for it. The one thing I have a bigger issue with is actually the child Billy, and it's not about the acting or anything, or the actor, I should say, but it's the fact that again, when I was just watching the trailer, what I noticed was it felt like the child Billy was acting very
Reserved,
precocious, and like very adult. Like he wants to take care of himself. He wants to be an adult, right? Like that's the kind of the vibe that you get from him.
Yeah.
Whereas Zachary Levi's Shazam feels more childish than the child version.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good point. And that was what happened in the Jeff Johns version. Billy Batson was a kid who wanted to take care of himself, who didn't think that he needed anyone. And then you've got Shazam being all, hey, cool, fun, whoosh, crikey, and yeah, it will kind of be at odds. But, you know, again, this is a trailer. We've only seen snippets, so who knows? Maybe they'll go into greater detail. I'm not saying this movie is going to be good, because ever since Suicide Squad, I've never said that about a DC movie, even Wonder Woman. I'll be pleasantly surprised, I'm sure, when it comes out, but... because, you know, let's be honest, if there's a way to ruin something, DC will find a way.
Yeah, I'm glad to see, at the very least, with both of these two trailers, I'm glad to see them taking the DCEU, the Tudyk, into a new direction. You know, at least they're making brighter films. At least they're trying to make something that will appeal to children, which I don't think they've made a film yet that I would take a child to.
Wonder Woman, maybe? Oh, wait, no, the gas that fucking implodes people.
I mean, Wonder Woman's probably the main one, but, like, I would not take a child to see Batman v Superman.
No. I wouldn't take an adult to see Batman v Superman.
No, but, like, okay, I wouldn't either. But you take the point. I mean, even, like, Justice League was, like, they're not kids' movies.
No, and I'm not saying these films have to be kids' movies, but one of the great things about Marvel, I mean, for the most part, is not all of them, but a lot of them have a lot of cross-generational appeal. So younger audiences can also see them as well. And Shazam is the perfect movie for that. I think it feels like, you know what Shazam feels like? It feels like something Spielberg would have done in the 80s.
Yeah. It feels like big.
It does feel like big. There's going to be a big reference in there, I guarantee it. People have already made a million big references.
It's almost been confirmed. It's been practically confirmed that they will be doing something similar to the piano sequence.
Yeah. But it feels like DC is waking up from the ammonia gas-induced fever that they've been in for the past couple of years. Wake up and realize, hang on a minute, you know what? I think we've got all of this kind of wrong. Here's an idea. Let's just mainly focus on doing, like, origin stories for our heroes as standalones and introducing one of the minor superheroes, unlike, you know, Batman and Superman, and just building things up from the ground up. I wonder who else did that. Oh, right, Marvel. Like, you're a day late and $1 short, DC, but at least you finally turned up to the party.
It just seems crazy to me that, like, so many other companies have started copying the Marvel strategy of, like, the shared universe and everything, and that the only other superhero company out there is failing so horribly.
They're all failing. Name one of a shared movie universe that is actually working right now other than Marvel.
I will happily do that, and it will bring us to our next trailer, which is Godzilla, King of Monsters.
You think the Godzilla shared movie franchise is working?
Having not seen any of it, I do.
You think that the more recent Godzilla movie worked?
I just said I haven't seen it. But what I'm saying is, it works.
I thought you were talking about the new one, sorry.
Yeah, I am.
No. The other new one.
Godzilla 2014.
Yes.
Yes.
Have you seen it?
No.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, from what I've seen of just the trailers for these films, I think it totally works. And I think it works better than DC's. At least what they're doing is...
Wait.
No. They're giving each monster... They're giving... Godzilla has has an origin movie, and then King Kong has an origin movie, and then they're gonna have a fight movie, as opposed to BVS. Like, I'm just saying, like,
Okay. On that
someone
level,
else is doing it.
on that level, it does make sense. But here's the thing: there's two sides to a shared movie universe. One, the correct amount of structure and interconnectivity and build-up, and as you say, and a certain amount of planning, and also the films have to be fucking good. Godzilla 2014 was not good. King Kong 20 whatever was fine, I guess, when you mainly focused on John C. Reilly, and other than that, it wasn't very good.
What did you think of the new trailer, the King of the Monsters?
I mean, it looks pretty epic, I guess. I think it looks pretty cool, but here's the thing. I think the people in these movies are getting far too over-reliant on the idea that giant monsters fighting will somehow fix all of their problems. Like in the Godzilla 2014 movie, it's just like, oh my god, this is giant monsters, we can't stop him. Well, let's get Godzilla to fight them. Well, how will that help? Because he'll beat them. Yeah, but he might destroy everything in the process. It's like saying, oh my god, there's an elephant loose. Well, let's set the tigers on it. That'll sort things out. And, like, maybe, but, like, what are the tigers gonna do when they've brought down the elephant? What else are they gonna do on the way to the elephant? What if they ignore the elephant and go somewhere else? You are basing this whole save of humanity on this random monster thing predicated on a lot of assumptions. And what does Godzilla do when he first shows up? He sets off a tidal wave that kills thousands of people.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really liked the Godzilla movies, to be honest. Like, the only one I've ever seen, in fairness, is the Matthew Broderick one. But the whole premise and the whole idea of, like, these giant monsters fighting each other just never really worked for me. I at least liked Pacific Rim, where it was like, at least it's giant monsters versus giant robots trying to stop the giant monsters, which I think produces a lot of the same problems you were just mentioning. Of, well, the giant robots still destroy cities, but you take the point. Like, I think it just, like, mentally it makes more sense. But I don't know, this trailer for King of the Monsters, it looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, okay, so it looks like a good trailer, but I still think, like, I don't know. I feel like... Yeah, that's what I just keep remembering. I keep remembering the final scene of Godzilla 2014. And, like, the news, watching him go back into the ocean, it's like the banner reads, Godzilla, our savior. And I'm just looking like, look at all the people he just trod on going back home.
It's almost like the end of that other movie. What was it? Oh, Man of Steel.
Oh, I see what you did there.
I mean, how could you ever call Superman a hero after the end of Man of Steel, where it's basically like, he basically destroys a city trying to... It's the exact same thing.
It is the exact same thing. But, like, it's not even that he was doing a lot of the destruction, because he wasn't. In fairness, he was not doing 70% of the destruction. What he was doing is not doing shit about the destruction as it went on around him. He did not try to mitigate... Like, okay, so Zord or whoever throws a giant fuel tanker at him. What does he do? Does he catch it and set it down? Does he slow it down? Does he... make sure that it doesn't explode somehow? No, he gracefully glides over it as it explodes behind him. No doubt killing people in its inferno and killing dozens more with the shrapnel that will ensue. While meanwhile he is completely unaffected.
I mean, it's like, what is it? The 5 Ds of dodging: duck, dive, dodge,
dip,
and dodge.
Duck, dive, dip, and dodge.
It's dodge twice.
Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
I think so.
Words to live by.
Anyway, okay. Here's another shared universe that's definitely gonna work. Okay. Glass.
Right, now here's the problem. See, I did not watch Split.
I haven't either.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Shyamalan. Remember that one cartoon that everyone really liked? And remember how you thought you could do a justice in your live-action version of it? Remember how that ended up horribly? Remember how angry we were? I still haven't really forgiven you. Like, I understand that a lot of people like
Whole episode on it. I'm trying to look up which episode number it was. Wait, hang on. Let me.
the capers will fine. It doesn't matter. The point is, we talked about this before. We talked about how awful the movie is.
Episode 31, capers.
Episode 31. It was a while ago, and yeah, it's kind of hard to forgive a guy after that. But here's the thing: he has been making better movies lately. That was the one where the kids go to visit their grandparents, and then they're not their grandparents. Apparently, that did very well.
Okay, better than shit. Still doesn't mean good.
True. And then
it's
there
like
was.
saying DC is making better movies.
This is a good
Justice
point.
League.
Well, again, I didn't see.
Justice League is better than BVS, but that's not saying anything.
Yeah, well, again,
I just feel like the clarification is worth making.
Yeah, well, you've made it, which was I was trying to say was I haven't actually seen that movie, and I haven't seen Split either, just because like I don't want to be betrayed again. I don't want to get my hopes up about you, Shyamalan, but I have heard really good things.
I would never even consider watching Split if it wasn't for the fact that they're making glass. Like, I think I read the Wikipedia page when it came out, and I felt like that was enough. But now that they're actually making glass and everything, it's like, well, I should probably watch Split just so I can watch Glass. And it's like, that's just a shit reason to watch a movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, a better reason would be like I hear that James McAvoy gives really, really good, I should say, performances, because he plays technically multiple characters that just happen to inhabit the same body.
And in fairness, I have heard that.
But again, this is I don't know, this is just, it's harkening back to a time when Shyamalan wasn't just considered good, he was considered great. Like, Unbreakable was... Yeah, people called him the next Spielberg. And you know what? I think I might have mentioned this before when we talked about it, but I think part of the reason why he sucked so badly for so long was because he believed the hype. Everyone was saying, oh, you're a genius, you're brilliant, you're the next Spielberg, you're godlike, oh my god, your films are brilliant. Despite the fact he only made...
He was horrible.
No, that's the thing. No, I don't think he is horrible. That's the thing.
Come on, that was a joke.
What?
We really shouldn't record these things so late. Anyway, keep going.
Oh, I'm doing fine. Anyway.
I know, I'm not.
Right. The problem was he believed his own hype, so he didn't try as hard anymore, which is why the films were so bad for so long. Now, I think he might be trying hard again. Of course, it would be nice if he was trying hard again with, original stuff rather than sequels to some of his most beloved works, but, whatever works.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. It gets, Bruce Willis and Sam Jackson in the same room again. I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, it gives Bruce Willis something to do.
Although he looks so bored in that one shot in the trailer.
Well, name a single movie made in the last 10 years where he doesn't look bored.
Fair point.
Mm. But you know what? One other shared universe movie, which I think might work, actually, if I'm ever going to be honest. Possibly. Fantastic Beasts.
So I'm genuinely excited for this, except I don't want Johnny Depp to be in it anymore.
No one does.
I know.
I don't even think Johnny Depp wants to be in this, but he is. And we have to do it. Here's the thing. Recasting is fine. It's been done before. You think Don Cheadle started out in Iron Man? No. And, this was a villain that we saw, for all of 5 seconds in the previous movie. Recast him. I don't care. Do you care?
He had some bad polyjuice and got stuck as Colin Farrell. I'd believe it.
Maybe. Or there's a million things you could do. You don't even have to reference it. You could just have a different actor playing him.
Magical universe. It's a magical universe, which means, like you just said, you don't have to explain it. It's a magical universe.
I'm not saying you have to explain it behind the scenes. Just recast him. No magical reason. Just recast.
apparently the shoot was awful with him.
What was he a diva?
I mean, is he ever not?
I don't know. I've not read up on much of his on-screen antics.
So this was on the shoot of The Last Pirates, but I heard that there was literally someone whose job it was to wake him up every morning and make sure he was to come on set.
Oh, like
Yeah.
so they basically hired a human alarm clock.
No, it was more like a human alarm clock to like get him dressed, get him in the car, get him to the studio, and make sure he didn't drink along the way.
So a nanny.
Yes.
Wow.
But putting Johnny Depp aside, I think
I wish we all could.
Right. I'm really excited about Jude Law. I really like Jude Law in general, and I think that he's actually, from what we've seen of him as Dumbledore, just in this first trailer, is really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, here's the problem. Like, I honestly think this is a role that not anyone, but a lot of people could play. No disrespect to Jude Law, he's a very good actor. Here's the thing, though. When you're playing a younger version of a much-beloved character, you have license to pretty much do whatever you want within reason, because if you play them exactly like the old Dumbledore, people say, well, now he's just doing an impression of Michael Gambon, so it doesn't really work. But so you could just like do something that's supposed to be similar to the character, maybe a little bit of it, but mostly is just like a completely different person. And not a completely different person. He's not, running around shooting people with Glocks.
But it's still, I mean, you're not wrong, but I do still think that he's doing a good job. Like
I'm not saying he's not doing a good job. Yeah, and I think Eddie Redmayne's character might have been a bit more polished this time, instead of being this sort of half whispery, doesn't look you in the eye, just like, what even was his character? Like, he likes animals, great. That's about it. He's kind of eccentric, but he's not.
So the one issue I have with Newt is that he seems too unlikely to be a hero. Like, Luke Skywalker is an unlikely hero. Harry Potter is an unlikely hero. But they're just likely enough to be a hero that you can believe it when they ultimately become one. But with Newt, it's sort of like he doesn't seem heroic, and I'm not sure if that's a strength for the film or not. Like, I don't really see him as being.
You know what he is? He is Q. He is the.
Yes.
He's the weird guy in the lab playing with his toys and his animals and stuff like that, and he's fine and he's happy there. He doesn't want to be a hero and go out and stuff, which is why I think the plot of these movies is so weird. They chose Grindelwald combined with Newt Scamander, the writer of the textbook Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Like, focus on one or focus on the other. Go on a magical quest for animals and shit and all this wonderful magical menagerie stuff. I would love to watch a movie like that. Or I'd love to watch a darker movie focusing on this basically like wizard Hitler, starting a war, and focus on a character that's doing that, like maybe an Aura or someone.
Exactly. Or Dumbledore himself. I think that the first Fantastic Beasts film worked, and that the way that they introduced Grindelwald in that film, it worked, and I had no problems with that. But I just didn't expect to see Newt Scamander come back at all. I expected him to come. I expected the next film to be, and now it's Dumbledore. Dumbledore's the main character. And I get why they probably don't want to do that, and why, like, as a character, Dumbledore really doesn't work that well. But I feel like it should be his show.
I don't know. It's like if you made a whole movie just focusing on Gandalf. I mean, yes, Gandalf is awesome, and sometimes when you see him alone for little bits, it works. But it's like, or a movie just about Obi-Wan Kenobi. Oh wait, we're going to get where that went. Never mind.
I hope so.
The point is that, like, the mentor character archetype doesn't necessarily work in a standalone thing. Like, it could have been just like, as I say, an Aura teaming up with what's her face.
Well, sort of. Well, it's basically you just put an Aura in the Newt Scamander role.
Basically, yeah. And It would have worked a lot better, or as I said, alternatively, have them go on a magical quest to save all these animals. And that's another thing I didn't like about the first one. It was just like Newt's attitude towards animals. Yes, he's very good with them and takes good care of them and stuff like that, and he likes them and he prefers them to people. That I get. I could really do. But it's just like, they never hurt people out of, selfishness or spite. Yeah, they hurt people out of self-defense or because they're hungry or they're bored. Like, cats fucking...
They still hurt people.
Yeah, I could tell you some... Once, I don't know if I've ever said on this show, once I went round to a friend's house when I was very, very young. I think it was a friend of family or someone my parents knew. And they had a cat. And we walked in, we all said hello. And the cat took one look at me, bounded up to me, and sank its claws into both of my knees. Like one paw on one knee. And it wouldn't let go. It just did that for fun. And I don't like it when people...
Cats don't like red and blue glasses. You should just remember that next time.
I should remember that. But this is the thing. I hate it. I hate it when a movie or TV show fetishizes something. I've talked about where I don't like how they fetishize a lot of shows and stuff. Fetishize people with really high IQs and stuff like that, saying, oh, they're geniuses, and because they're geniuses, that means they're tortured or tormented or socially awkward and stuff. Like, yeah, that can happen, but also they can be perfectly fine. And I hate it when movies like say animals are perfect creatures and they're just much better than humans. Like, well, I'm sure some of them, like, I love puppies, but that doesn't mean they're not going to shit on the carpet.
Yeah.
And on that note, something that I don't think will be a shit on the carpet, he wowed us in the present. He bedazzled us in the future. Now he's going to the world of fantasy. It's Disenchanted.
Wait, what?
Disenchanted.
Did they release the trailer?
Yes.
Hey, hang on, we have to pause for a minute.
Okay, Capers, apparently David did not know about the new Matt Groening cartoon called Disenchanted, so,
I thought you were talking about a sequel to the Disney movie Enchanted.
No! What? No! No, I'm talking about the cartoon, the animated cartoon from Matt Groening! Created The Simpsons and Futurama!
Shh, I'm watching it now. Alright, that looks okay.
Okay, so, Capers, bit of a time skip there. David has just watched, the trailer for the new Disenchantment. Oh, it's Disenchantment as opposed to Disenchanted.
Yes, which is why I got confused and really excited.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was my fault. I do apologize.
I have heard that they're making a sequel to Enchanted.
But so, in my defense, those two words, disenchantment and disenchanted, are very similar.
No. It's a fair mistake.
Okay, this follows the adventures and exploits of the hard-drinking Princess Bean, her elf companion Elfo, and her personal demon Lucy, I believe his name is. And they get all sorts of wacky adventures in a fantasy world, and I am fucking down for that.
I mean, it looks alright. I feel like, having not watched any Game of Thrones, I'm probably going to miss a lot of references there. Like, I clearly got the one about the Iron Throne and the thing, but, like, I don't know. It's a Netflix show, so that will probably get me on board, as well as, obviously I love The Simpsons and Futurama.
Well, we like old Simpsons and all of Futurama.
Yes.
Where do you take, like, good Simpsons from, to?
So I'd probably say, like, I mean, the first season isn't really anything.
Awkward is what it is.
Yeah, like somewhere in the second season through to about season 10.
See, I take it from like the second half of the second season all the way, I'm a bit more generous, up to the release of the movie.
Yeah, it was, I'd say you still get, like, between 10 and 14, you still get some good episodes, but I feel like there's
a drop-off in quality.
The quality starts to get less consistent.
Yeah, it's only after the movie I found, I sort of sat down, kept on watching and realised, like, I haven't laughed once at this. This isn't funny. This is desperate.
Yeah.
This is boring. This is lazy. And I
don't think I've watched
tolerated
a new
right up.
episode in years.
Sorry?
I haven't watched a new episode in years.
Oh, same. It's just not good anymore. And thankfully, Futurama never really got to that point. I'm sure we have the episodes that we don't like, as opposed to episodes we do like. But it never really got to that point, maybe because it kept on being cancelled.
How many times did it get canceled? Like 3?
Well, like it got cancelled the first time. Then they did all those movies, and they thought, okay, that's the end of that now. So, and then it came back again. So it ended 3 times,
Yeah.
but then it got cancelled twice.
But I mean, good for Matt Groening for finally doing something new, for the second time.
Yeah, I mean, there's a long period between new projects for him, because let's be honest, like with the money he's made from The Simpsons, like he doesn't need to work again ever.
Yeah,
But
but the thing is that it does make me think if The Simpsons hadn't been as successful, or if The Simpsons had ended, what else would we have gotten from him?
well, there's all sorts of like the Bongo comics and like that bunny
I
cartoon.
know.
Like he does stuff. He's doing
but
it.
I know, but it just makes me wonder, like, would we have gotten even more creative stuff like this Disenchantment thing, which is at the very least, it's very different from the other two. Would we have gotten, as different as Futurama is from The Simpsons, Disenchantment feels like it's that different from both of them again. And would we, is Matt Groening's creativity just thrown so hard into The Simpsons that he's not creating anything else that could be just as great?
Well, I don't know, because like he hasn't worked in The Simpsons for a long, long time. Even before the movie came out, he hadn't really worked in it.
Fair enough, but you still take the point.
Yeah, I do take the point, yeah. But here's another. We talked about Futurama and how awesome it is in the future and how funny it is. The Orville.
I couldn't give a shit about the Orville.
How dare you? The Orville is good! Embrace it!
I believe you, I just don't care.
Have you even seen it?
No. But I still don't care.
Well, start caring, or start watching it, and then you care. Because, like, I have not seen a show in ages that actually made me pause the show, point at the screen, and yell, "That is too smart! That is too interesting! That is, oh my god, that's so cool!" And then realize, why have I paused this? I need to keep watching it. Oh my god. Because, like, I'm not going to pretend it's the best show ever. I'm not going to pretend, like, there's jokes there that don't work, main characters that I could take or leave. But on the whole, it's smart, it's funny, it poses really interesting and relevant ideas. It is, like, Star Trek Reborn, classic Star Trek, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager Star Trek, the stuff that really made you think, or even like classic Star Trek. And it just feels fresh and new while simultaneously being evocative of something that was on the air decades ago. It's amazing how it suddenly just works to this degree, but it also feels distinct. It has distinct characters. You don't think like, oh, that's the Spock equivalent, or oh, that's the beardy weirdy one. What's his name? Oh yes, Frakes. Forgot his name for a second there. And it just works, and it's fun. And the trailer for, have you seen the new trailer?
No, but I'll tell you what, I will watch the show instead of the trailer.
Fair enough, but the trailer looks really cool. It's got like a cool version of All Right Now by Free, and it's just, it's awesome, and it's cool, and it's awesome, and it's cool, and I like it. So take that, Star Trek Discovery fans, I don't care. There was also a trailer for Star Trek Discovery. Did you see it?
Again, I don't care.
Well, I don't care either, so I didn't either.
I'm not big on Star Trek. This is why I didn't care about the Orville either.
You know, David, consider the fact that you are the editor-in-chief of a pop culture website that discusses a lot of different things. Like, you really ought to be on the ball here.
This is why I hire people, Scott.
That's a fair point. Delegation!
Exactly.
But okay, there's one final big sci-fi show that's getting a bit of a comeback now. That something that we didn't even realize we wanted or needed is suddenly coming back and realizing, hey, I missed this. Do you know what it is?
Iron Fist?
No, it's not. It's not Iron Fist. It's not Iron Fist. Like, no one's looking forward to that. I think it'll be good, but I'm not looking forward to it at this point. Jeez. Because it's going to have to work really hard, so hard to bring back all the people it lost. Dear God, they're going to struggle, but hopefully the struggle will be worth it. But I'm talking about... na 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 The Clone Wars! Oh, right, that's happening, he says, like he forgot.
I genuinely did. I never watched the Clone Wars. Or no, I did watch some of it. I don't know.
Okay, David, you're disappointing me.
Sorry, dude. I'm really tired.
Yeah, but you weren't tired when you could have been watching the Clone Wars. You haven't been tired for all your life and just like, oh, I don't have the energy to watch the Clone Wars ever.
You'd be surprised how much energy it takes to watch the Clone Wars, Scott.
No, really, no. It was a great thing because it had like running plot lines and stuff, but it was mainly like self-contained episodes and self-contained arcs, looking at these different like vignettes of the Clone Wars and these different characters and different Jedis, different clone troopers, different people on both sides of the conflict, and it was just kind of a brilliant setup for a TV show, especially an animated one set in the Star Wars universe. And it also meant that the Star Wars Rebels had a different direction to go in, where it could be more focused and focused on a core group of characters, which made it feel distinct in its own way. So it also like inadvertently set up something to work in the future whilst being its own great thing in the present. And it had a lot of iconic characters. Like, it's weird, you wouldn't think you'd be able to make several different characters that technically all have the same face and are all clones of each other feel distinct, but the show worked really hard, not just at the designs of the characters, but also their personalities and their goals and their motivations. Like, dear God, Echo and Fives are always in our hearts.
I mean, I have heard like very good things about both shows. It's just that, it's not one that I ever made the time for, and it's also like I keep hearing that like it takes a little while to pick up, and that's just not something that will get you to watch episode 1.
Maybe, but here's the thing: like the show, it really died the death of 1,000 cuts because it ended in a similar way to Legend of Korra, like I think going on online and stuff like that, and slowly dying. So it just sort of petered out. It ended on a reasonably strong note. But people were just like, well, I guess that's the end of Clone Wars. Sad. And it had a good run. It did not end before its time, I think. But you know what? It started off with a movie. Not a very good movie, I'll be perfectly honest with you. But, like, hey, Anakin, you've got a Padawan now. And she's really sassy. Oh, great. What's our first mission? You've got to deliver a baby hut to its daddy.
Is that the plot of the film? I definitely saw it in cinema, and I couldn't tell you anything about it.
That is basically the plot of the movie. Like, they got to deliver Jabba the Hutt's slug son to him. That is, like, the big... There's other stuff going on, but, like, that's the main plot. That's what I took away from it. But have you seen the trailer for the new Clone Wars thing?
No, I haven't.
Well, it's great because it starts like with just you hear voices of the clone troopers, that clips from the show, just voiceovers playing in the background, and echoey and shadowy, and some of them are happy and built and inspirational, others are darker and like, oh God, we're all gonna die. And as it's doing this, it sort of shows two lines in a darkened area of clone trooper helmets, and as it pans out and goes further back, we see this never-ending row of clone trooper helmets slowly morph into the ones from episode 2 all the way to episode 3, and it gets dark, more progressive, and you can see signs of battle in the distance, and then suddenly the clone trooper helmets explode! And then we see Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin and the music and the Ahsoka and the hologram. It's so good.
Nice. Okay, I'll definitely watch that after this.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's a really atmospheric trailer. It truly is. God.
Fair enough. I'll check it out.
Okay, and now I think that's most of the trailers that at least I wanted to talk about. Any others that we missed?
No, that was all on my list.
Okay, and yeah, pretty impressive lineup. There was lots of other stuff like people panels for Wonder Woman, etc., talking about, and they show people clips, but we're not really going to talk about that because we didn't see that, so there's not really much we could say. Like, we could just say, hey, a bunch of people sat in a room and saw a clip from Wonder Woman 1984, or 1989, or whatever it's called. And, like, great, good for them. Yay. But, yeah, we weren't there, so. But there's plenty of other stuff to talk about, like more recent news from the world of entertainment. It happened. Fox has been bought by Disney, at least their entertainment division, which means that X-Men and Fantastic Four are coming back to Marvel! Yay! And they're cancelling a bunch of X-Men movies! What?
Yeah, so this is something I've just heard this morning on the Jock and Nerd podcast, but not the Jock and Nerd, the Weekly Planet. God, I'm really tired. But there's rumors that when Disney acquires Fox, because technically it's not. I was reading this morning. Technically, it's not 100% yet. It's just like 99%, but it's pretty much going to happen. They're thinking that Disney is going to cancel, or rather, not release Dark or New Mutants, or that they might become only available on their new streaming service, but that they won't get a cinematic release.
Oh, jeez. And I think that's a very stupid thing to do. If you have something that's ready to go, like, don't just throw it away. Like, just release it. Or, here's an idea, incorporate it somehow into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You can do reshoots. Like, just a little added on to the end that somehow means that it's part of this bigger thing. I don't know. Like, it's just point, like, I'll be honest, I'm not that psyched for Dark Phoenix, but I'm kind of, because it's X-Men, and I always enjoy X-Men. It's one of my favourite movie franchises ever, except for when it's not. And New Mutants, I thought looked really interesting. I'm not a horror guy. I'm really not, but damn, that looked good. And it looks so unique, and it had Wolfsbane played by Maisie Williams, who isn't Scottish, but, you know, I'll fucking take it.
I mean, it's sort of, these aren't movies that I'm jonesing for. Like, I desperately need to see them, but I do want to see them. Because this isn't like, Infinity War Part 2, where it's like, good God, when it isn't coming. But it's probably I'm as excited as I am for Shazam for these movies. Like, I want to see them.
Probably a bit more so for me because
they have more history.
They have more history and they're more established, and Shazam is a bit more of a wild card. So. I think if
actually been putting out good X-Men films lately, from Logan to Deadpool and Deadpool 2. I mean, putting Apocalypse aside, they've actually gotten so much better lately.
Days of Future Past, yeah,
yeah, exactly.
And which makes their acquisition all the more surprising. But then again, there are other movies they've been making that are other than X-Men. Jeez, and this is the thing: is the X-Men universe just going to be wiped, and we're just going to get the X-Men again, but with all new actors and all new characters just supplanted into the MCU? Is that what's going to happen?
So here's my theory from a few of the rumors that I've heard, which is basically that Marvel's definitely making an Eternals movie.
Oh yay, the Eternals!
And Kevin Feige has said that he definitely wants Galactus and the Silver Surfer in the MCU.
Oh, as do we all.
So I think what we're going to get is some sort of something from either the Eternals or Infinity War Part 2, where we get a little timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly, and the mutants and the Fantastic Four will be retconned into the universe.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, but that's the question. Are we going to have the same actors, is what I'm wondering.
Oh, no, I don't think we're going to get the same actors. I think it's going to be a whole new cast.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, they can't really have all the whole new actors, because then there'll be two Quicksilvers.
but I don't think they would do I think that like Quicksilver and what's her face are still gonna stay as not mutants.
Yeah, that's
Which
who
is
knows? I'm
weird,
not
but
saying.
you know what I mean. But wait, I think what they really should do, and this is what I really, really have always said, that this is the way to do the Fantastic Four. Do it as a 10-episode Netflix series, and do it set it in the '60s, and make it just like, psychedelic, fun adventure in the negative zone.
So you want to give the Fantastic Four a TV series with the budget of, say, Jessica Jones?
Okay, not a TV series, but set it in the '60s is basically what I'm saying.
I mean, that's one idea. Now I think it might work. I think a modern day interpretation might work as well. I'm looking.
It's more that, like, if you look at the the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we know about the '40s and a little bit into the '50s from, Captain America, and then we had Agent Carter, but we don't know about the '60s or the '70s or the '80s. And it's the same thing where, like, I really wanted the Defenders shows to be set in the '70s, because I think that it would have given them a better aesthetic, and it would have explained how they're not connected to everything else. Obviously, that's not what they did, and I don't think they're going to do it with anything else, but I think it would have been really clever. Oh, no, I take it back. They're doing it with Captain Marvel. They're putting her in the '90s.
Yeah, and Wonder Woman is going to be in the '80s. That's not Marvel, I know, but still. So, I mean, possibly, yeah. I guess it's one of those things. I think it could work in that way, or it could work in the modern day. Because, let's be honest, it's Marvel. My feelings to Marvel are the opposite of DC. DC, they could make good movies, but I don't trust them to. Marvel, they could make bad movies, but I don't believe they will.
I trust them not to.
Yeah, I trust them not to. They built up enough goodwill for me. And yes, Inhumans took a little bit of a hit, but you know what? That's one in the bad column and lots in the good.
I think the other thing is that about the whole Disney Fox merger is that, as great as it is that Marvel is getting the X-Men and the Fantastic Four back, as happy as I am for that, it does make me very concerned for the film industry as a whole. And
Are you thinking like fatigue?
Not necessarily fatigue, but I'm thinking about like Fox owns Fox Searchlight, and they put out all these, like, all the other films that Fox puts out that aren't like the Marvel Fox films.
The slightly smaller films.
Just everything else. I mean, it's a whole studio gone. There's been a prediction that we're going to get 15 to 30 fewer studio films now.
Oh god, or worse, we'll get them, but they'll all be under the banner of Disney.
Yeah, that would be horrible. It's like your dystopian nightmare.
Oh god, yeah, I can't even imagine. It's just I've said before, like, I like that we're getting Fantastic Four and getting X-Men, but I do not want Disney, or indeed any company, to have a monopoly. That's not. There needs to be competition between studios. Because that means that we try and make better films. Although that already turns out it's actually more like, hey, what films can we make that be most profitable, not the ones that are most good. But I mean, yeah, this is one of the things where I think a lot of people thought it's really, really good, and there are good things about it. But sadly, we live in the real world where even if something's good, there's always going to be little tiny flecks of shit.
Yeah.
Any other news out of San Diego Comic-Con?
I think that's it.
I think that's it. No other big announcements. Wyona was announced. I think Wyona turned up at San Diego Comic-Con, but not really announcements. It was just to coincide with the release of the third season, which I've started watching.
And?
It's good. It's good. We're only 2 episodes in, but it's good. I just watched the second episode, and I'm not going to spoil anything for anyone, but it's good.
Good.
There's not really much else.
I think that's about it.
Yeah, there's not really much else we can talk about as far as where. There's probably going to be someone shouting, saying, "You forgot this! You forgot this!" And yeah, we did.
We covered all the big stuff. Let's put it that way.
All the stuff that everyone else is talking about, because you know what, we really know what we're doing. Okay, so I think on that note, we're going to end this slightly shorter show than usual capers, but you know what? Fuck it, you'll take what we give you. And on that note, we're going to end the show. Thank you very much, David, for joining me today.
Yeah, it's been a blast.
And don't forget, capers, you could still get tickets to Meanwhile Comic Con. David and myself will be there. We'll be talking about our big comic inspirations, and we'll be joined by people, won't we, David?
Yes, we actually have a few different guests lined up. We'll keep it a mystery, but there's some really cool people who may or may not have already been on the show. Can I say that?
Yes, they will have been on the show. I'd like to point out, David, that if we actually told the capers who would be joining us, that might make them more inclined to turn up. You didn't think of that, did you?
So our surprise guests are going to be Sarah Millman and Lyndon White, who have both been on the podcast before.
Yay! And we're just going to be the four of us then. The four of us sitting around talking about our big comic inspirations. It's going to be a lot of fun. We look forward to seeing you there. And if you enjoyed this show, please tell your friends, shout it from the rooftops. And if you haven't already, go back and listen to some of our super episodes, like one of our episodes from a Comic-Con, like the one we went to Leamington Spa Comic-Con, David's more recent foray into the world of the Cardiff International Expo. What was it called?
Comics Expo, I think.
International Comic. He had a really good time there. I wish I had gone. And you can listen to the show on iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, or at podcapers.com. We have a Patreon. Check out the rewards. Patreon.com/AP2H1C. If you want to get in touch with us, suggest show topics, or maybe come on the show yourself, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at AP2HYC, or email us at podcapers@AP2HYC.com. Thank you very much to Dan Harris for our logo, the lovely microphone, the very blue 3D glasses, those are mine. And thank you for listening. This has been Podcapers, the official podcast of a place to hang your cape. David, you can go to sleep now.
Yay!